بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما.
Okay, the next thing we'll try to understand some of the concepts or the terminologies used inside the puppet. Now, probably most of the concepts we have already discussed, just the naming wise, there will be slight different names we refer here. Now, the first one is your puppet master. Now, puppet master is actually a device from where you do all the management, or we can say the software. So if you remember the master concept, the master and the agent concepts, the same thing. Here we call it as a puppet master, puppet agent. Okay, so once we decide to use the puppet, the first thing what we are going to do is we are going to install the puppet software probably on any one of the servers. We'll install maybe a Linux or a Linux host, or it can be a Linux host as well. And that particular server is referred as a puppet master. Okay, now again, this software, as I said, this software can be an open source. There are a couple of variations. If you visit the puppet website, you'll find some details. Now there is an option of free open source version, or you can also use some kind of paid version is also available. So you can visit the website, as I said, for more details. Now, what is the job of this puppet master? The same thing. The master is going to push the configuration or the config files to the nodes or to the agents, to the end devices. Now, again, we have something called puppet agent, nothing but the node. Now, these are the actual end devices, maybe routers or switches, or maybe some firewalls, or even it can be your server if you're using some kind of server virtualization. Now, probably these devices do have an agent software installed. So typically the agent software is installed on them, and these agents are being managed by the server. Again, the server is responsible for sending out the configurations, and of course the end devices, we call them as puppet agents. Okay, so as I said, the puppet agents are nothing but they do have some kind of agent software installed that need to be installed on their end, and these are actually managed by the master again. And also we have something called puppet database. Now, database is nothing but like storage. You store the tasks, the actual tasks which are supposed to be executed. Now we can say like changes or the automation task, whatever you want to execute on these end devices. So that has to be stored in some place, and we call that particular thing called as puppet database. Okay, so now these changes, or we can say these are like the changes or whatever the automation task. And again, these changes, whatever you want to make, either you can store them locally on the same server, or even you can have a separate box where you can actually do all the storage of your automation related task. Okay, so whenever it is required, you can push those configurations or push those config files back to the end nodes so that they can be executed on the end nodes, or even you can schedule it as well.